What's up, guys? Welcome to Box Football. And to be fair, it's all chaos right now. I need to take a deep breath and kind of soak everything in. Big match just happened. Man City versus Liverpool at Anfield, and Man City coming up trumps beating Liverpool 4-1. What a display by them guys. But Jack, what did you think about the game?
So I think you already touched on it. There's a lot to talk about. But look, Allison messed up. Okay, maybe the game is still 2-1 if Allison doesn't make those mistakes. But let's be honest here. Those mistakes, I don't know how, with the defence in the shape that Liverpool's is in, with two central midfielders playing at centre back. I don't know how much faith you have with the guy behind you if he's making mistakes of that nature. And it's a guy, we don't really expect those kind of mistakes. It's usually one of the skills he's good at, playing out from the back, passing. And yet again, James, you've coached kids before. If in doubt, get it out. Just clear your lines. Just get that out of here. Stop trying to be cute, because a team like Man City, who were pressing up high, they will take you apart. Overall, though, if we do look at the game, I've been saying this for a little while now. It's the beginning of the end for this Liverpool team, and we need some serious turnover of players in the summer. Whether that's somebody like a Kylian Mbappe coming in, a Jadon Sancho, potentially a defensive reinforcement. If Wijnaldum does decide to go to Barcelona, another central midfielder isn't going to need to be signed, because this project, if they don't reinvest, is going to fall back to where Liverpool were kind of just as they were coming up, which is top four hopefuls with potential, but no clear-cut strategy. And that's just the way it feels. And Man City, what can I say? There's me saying they don't have enough goals to win the title. If you told me that their midfielders were going to step up the way they have, Foden's going to be scoring goals, John Stones is going to be scoring goals, Ilkay Gundogan's going to be missing penalties but still getting a brace, I'd say okay. They don't need their strikers to score when they've got their wingers and midfielders doing all the scoring for them. City are the best team in the league right now. It's going to be hard to stop them, and it's all down to Pep Guardiola to keep them focused for the title as it goes in, and I'm sure he will be capable of doing that.
I feel like the easiest thing to do is to point at Allison and say, "You're the reason why they lost. You made mistakes. Yeah. But I want to look at Man City, and I want to give Man City credit, because you look at Man City haven't won Anfield since 2003. 2003. Guardiola in his six matches at Anfield has never won. He's lost 5 times, got one draw. So we already know the history behind it. They went to Anfield today with two of their best players out in Sergio Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne, and absolutely dominated this Liverpool side. When you go to Anfield, the one thing I understand that there's no crowd there, but the one thing that you're gonna get is pressure from Liverpool. Liverpool pressing from the front. You're not gonna be able to get out. They were able to, first of all, change their approach a little bit. Usually when you watch Man City, it's all expansive. They set a high line. They set a high line and dominate the ball. But today, they sat back, withstood the pressure, and when it comes to going forward, they showed how clinical they were. Even missing a penalty, their ability to still come up trumps and beat this Liverpool team and ultimately smash them is absolutely brilliant. Phil Foden, I've criticized him a bit, but you have to give him credit. He's an absolute football player and will go on to be one of the best. He's brilliant. Ilkay Gundogan, we're looking at the player of the season this year. This guy's probably my vote. I know Jack has Harry Kane, but he's my vote. You got Sterling playing back to his best right now. Rodri, who people have questioned a lot, he's back on his best.
Sterling is a real standout, and he can be, because when Sterling gets going, I mean, that can be the difference between the title. If you get Raheem Sterling playing the way he should be playing. One thing I will say as well, James, I know City do deserve a lot of credit. They did play a little differently. Less possession than Liverpool, less passes, less of an impetus on retaining possession and keeping the ball. One thing I will say, and I don't want to kind of go on this too much, I thought all the penalties were pretty weak. even the Ruben Diaz one, Salah's kind of pushing off on Ruben Diaz as well. So that to me would be kind of a you're both as bad as each other kind of thing. I would just kind of wave that off and call that one off. Even the Fabinho one, I thought it was a little weak, probably still a penalty, but just a little weak. So I didn't love how the penalties really impacted the game as well. But a deserved win for City, hands down.
I want to go back to the performance, and there's few things I got from it. This was, in my opinion, the best performance I've seen from Man City under Pep Guardiola in the last 3 to 4 years that like he's been in charge of them. Secondly, this performance has showed me that they have the nous now to go on in the Champions League and do that on a consistent basis over a two-legged affair. Them going to Anfield in a hostile environment like that and be able to sit back, withstand a bit of pressure, but when also having the ball, they can go forward and hurt a team. That's going to work perfectly in the Champions League. If they can go to Bayern, I can see them doing that. If they go to Madrid, Barca, whoever, they can do that. And watching them, they're going to be a threat. Secondly, we're seeing a transition when you're looking at strikers, because Man City are technically going to win this league without really having a number 9.
Exactly.
You look at it right now.
It doesn't really happen.
You look at it, especially some of the big games this year. Kevin De Bruyne was the false 9. Today it was Phil Foden. They had Aguero times on the bench, Jesus on the bench. They didn't put him on, and even sometimes when Jesus would come on, he would play at wide. So this whole transition from Guardiola, he's been able to change it up to the point right now is that we're on a new era for Man City. He's taken out the old guard of all Yaya Torres, your David Silvas, your Vincent Kompany's, your Sergio. He's taken that out and he's brought in a new, fresh era of this Man City team, and it's just coming to fruition right now. They're playing outstanding, and I wanted to say this, and this is a funny analogy. I looked at this title race almost like a Money in the Bank match. Everyone going for the briefcase. Who's gonna reach out? Who is it gonna be? CM Punk, Edge, whoever. And Man City finally reached out and said, "There, we won it. Let's have it." 10 straight wins, credible.
The only thing I'll say, I'm looking at their top scorers points now. So Premier League, number 1 top scorer with 9 goals, İlkay Gündoğan. Number 2, Raheem Sterling with 8. Phil Foden is number 3 with 5, joint with Riyad Mahrez, who has 5. Then your first forward kind of really enters the fray, and you got Gabriel Jesus with 4. Then De Bruyne, Ferran Torres, John Stones, Bernardo Silva, Cancelo, Ake, Mendy, Walker, and then obviously you're sitting there with Sergio Aguero with 0 Premier League goals. I think that this is why my initial opinion, their strikers have 4 goals between them this year, and we're just over halfway through the year. That's why I didn't give them enough credit. But like I've said, you've got these guys coming through now from other areas of the pitch who are going to start picking up goals for you. You're going to kind of get to a point where you say, right, if we stop so-and-so, we then also have to worry about this person, and this person. It's not as easy now just to stop one player like it would be with some other teams. Tottenham, relatively easy to set up against. You're worried about Kane, you're worried about Son. Apart from that, you're not really worried. At this point in time, who are you most worried about in this Man City team? Because I can tell you about 6 or 7 names who could hurt you.
And that's incredible. But I want to talk about Liverpool now. And what are they? 10 points off the top. Also, Man City with a game in hand, so basically it could be 13. Not really looking like the same team that we seen last year. And my biggest thing with this with this Liverpool side, yes, we can look at the Virgil van Dijk thing and point straight to that. But you can't tell me Virgil van Dijk will be the difference between them losing to teams like Brighton, dropping points against Fulham, Newcastle, West Brom. Like, you look at this whole situation, and you can say the injuries, but you got Liverpool and just point at yourselves. You are the reason why you're not there. Like you're not at the top. They've let themselves down this season, personally.
I'm gonna have to disagree. Purely because I think that it's not just Van Dijk. It's Van Dijk, it's Gomez, it's Matip. I think that if this Manchester City team did not have John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Emerick Laporte, I don't know where they'd be. Is that going to be Fernandinho and somebody at centre-back? I don't think they're top of the table. I think why at the beginning of the year, I think I said top four. I think I said top four for Liverpool prior to the Van Dijk injury. Sorry, after the Van Dijk injury, because it is such a massive impact. And if we're looking at the top 10 teams here, the defensive record of Man City, they've conceded 14 goals. It's incredible. It's going to be the best defensive season that we may have ever seen from a Premier League team. Then you've got, where are they? Liverpool conceded 29 goals. Manchester United, who we'll come on to, have conceded 30. And we know how bad their defence is conceding early goals. So I think that as much as you may be critical of the whole team, I do think that those three major centre-back issues have been a problem, because what you're now doing is taking away from the midfield. You don't have Fabinho impacting the midfield. You don't have Henderson impacting the midfield, because they're all the way back at centre-back, which is not a position they're trained at that level.
Jack, I get that, but when you have 70% of the ball against Brighton, when you have 70% of the ball against Fulham, 70% of the ball against West Brom, and you're failing to break these teams down, scoring your usual 3-4 goals, like, you can't point that at like the defense. They have enough with Firmino, Salah, Mane. They got Thiago, they got Wijnaldum going forward. They ultimately just haven't been good enough. And the injuries, yes, are a big problem, and I understand that the balance of having Henderson at the backside of being in midfield and having like Van Dijk not being there and like to bring the play forward is a big part of it. But these teams, no matter what, you still expect them to win.
I am gonna disagree, purely because, like I say, at the end of the day, football's a very simple game. It's goals for and it's goals against, and it's how those stack up and how you get results. The fact of the matter is, Liverpool have conceded more than double what Liverpool have. I think with those defenders in there, we're seeing Liverpool maybe concede around the high teens or the low 20s. And some of those goals against some of those teams where they've dropped points, those are the kind of matches where you're going to see it happen. We know the forwards haven't been good enough yet, but I'm just saying 29 goals conceded is poor.
Okay, Jack, I'll give you the 29 goals conceded, but let's take two games right now that they've lost this season. 4 home to Liverpool and 7 away to Aston Villa. You add that up, Jack, that's 11 goals. So that's nearly a half chunk of their goals chopped off there. So it's not really about the defensive issues. It's about what they do going forward.
That's absolutely true, and you're spot on. And if you do look for the goals for though column, James, they do have more goals than Man City. They do have more goals than Leicester, than West Ham, than Chelsea. The only team who scored more goals than them this year is Man United. So I think that you would say, generally speaking, that the forwards have done okay. Now, we can obviously agree that they should be spread across games a little bit better. When they have kind of thumped teams, you'd like that to be spread out a little bit more. And also, the only team who scored more from them just came off a 9-0 victory against 9 men to make their goals scored 49. But I just think that it's... If you take the 3 starting centre-backs away from any team, they're always going to do worse off. And what Liverpool have done in spite of that is still been good. We'll see what happens with Ozan Kabak. And then I forget the kid, Ben White, is it, from Preston?
No, Ben Davis.
Ben Davis. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him as well.
My thing with this Liverpool team is this. We know the way how Liverpool play. They get their full-backs wide, after 2 wingers, Salah and Mane, to come inside to like create extra bodies. But watching them right now, they've absolutely ran out of ideas to score. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he put him out 50 crosses a game, but it's just not working. Robinson doesn't seem to be as effective as we think he is. The top 3 who have been brilliant for the last 4 years, they looks like they ran out of stardust. Mo Salah, who is lauded, he hasn't played up to his standard. The exact same thing with Sadio Mane. And then like you look to midfield and ask yourself, where is the goals? Where is the chances created going to come from? Wijnaldum, I don't think he has assisted a goal in like 2 seasons.
And he's mentally checked out. We need to remember that this is a guy who I think really, really wants to play for Barcelona. His contract's come up. Privately, it's not going to shock me if he's already agreed his contract to sign for Barcelona. Mentally, he's no longer there. And that's an issue. We talk about, everybody listening, James, Timmy and I had a nice kind of 4 or 5 hour football chat. None of it was recorded, just really kind of hashed out some really interesting topics of conversation. And I think it was Timmy made a really good point about your front three or even a midfield three should never be the same for any longer than 3 or 4 years. And we're definitely at that point now. We hope
Also, I made that comment, not to
James made that comment. We hope that Diogo Jota is going to come in and take one of them. But then I also think that over this time period, what we've seen, we need somebody else to come in. And, we need to refresh again. With Wijnaldum leaving, we need somebody else to come in again. Liverpool need to make some pretty big changes here, or else all the momentum they've built during this time is going to fall away.
Liverpool have been together for 5 years right now with not that much of change, so we might see a change with them. The question is, will they even get in the top 4? That's not a foregone conclusion. So they went from the title, they went for the champions all the way to can we even get in Europe, which is absolutely baffling. But let's